time in our series on Paul and his journeys, we heard how Paul had been back to Jerusalem. And this week we're going to look at his next journey, his second missionary journey to tell people all about Jesus. And this time Paul was going to travel with some different people. He was going to travel with two, one called Silas and the other one called Timothy. And when they prayed to God, they realized that God wanted them to travel to Greece. And so they were going to set off on a boat on that journey. Quiz time. How much do you know about Greece? Which one of these is the Greek flag? What is the capital city of Greece? Is it Berlin, Paris, Athens, Rome, or Jerusalem? It's Athens. What's the name of this famous Greek monument? It's the Parthenon. Do you know the names of these Greek foods? Here's a hint. These are the names, but not in the right order. We have octopus, baklava, kebabs, hummus, feta salad, olives. And these are the answers. The men arrived in Philippi, which was an important city in Greece, and also a Roman colony. Many people lived there who were not originally from Greece. Many people would want to hear what Paul and his friends had to say. Paul and Silas travelled to Philippi. Philippi was a major city in the district of Macedonia. It was also a Roman colony. One day, the men went outside the city to a riverbank, where they thought people would be meeting for prayer. They sat down to speak to some of the women who had gathered there. One of them was called Lydia. She was a merchant of expensive purple cloth, and she worshipped God. As she listened to Paul share about the good news of Jesus, the Lord opened her heart, and she became a Christian. Lydia was baptized in the river, and then she invited Paul and Silas and Timothy to stay as guests at her home while they were in Philippi. Several more things happened while the men were in Philippi.
Slapstick Theater. Paul and Silas. This is Paul.
Hey!
Who told people about Jesus in lots of different places. One day, Paul was walking with his friend Silas.
Hey, yo!
They were being followed by a girl who was controlled by an evil spirit. Her owners used her to make money. After days and days of this happening, Paul got so annoyed that he turned around and told the evil spirit to leave her. So the girl was freed.
Woohoo!
But her owners got mad at Paul and Silas because they wouldn't make any money off of her anymore. And they had them thrown in jail. The jailer locked them up.
Oh, man!
Around midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing to God, and the other prisoners were listening. Suddenly, there was an earthquake, and the chains of all the prisoners fell off.
Oh, what just happened?
But Paul and Silas didn't leave, even though they could have. Several people decided to follow Jesus that night, including the jailer and his whole family. And the next morning, they were released from jail, and the city officials even apologized to them.
Sorry about that.
Paul and Silas encouraged the Christians in the town, and they continued on their mission to tell people about Jesus.
See ya.
After leaving Philippi, the men travelled on to Thessalonica and then to Berea. In Thessalonica and Berea. The men arrived in Thessalonica, and there they stayed in the house belonging to a man called Jason. As was Paul's custom, on the Sabbath day he went to the synagogue, the place where Jews would meet to worship. For 3 weeks in a row, he explained from the scriptures about God's Messiah, Jesus. Some of the Jews were persuaded, both men and women, and joined Paul and Silas. But others stirred up trouble, and so Paul left for the town of Berea. When Paul and Silas arrived in Berea, again they went to the synagogue, the place of worship. Everyone listened very carefully, and then they searched the scriptures to check that what Paul was saying was true. Many of the men and women became Christians too. Paul continued to meet and speak to many different kinds of people. Some were rich and important. Some were very clever, well educated. Some were poor, and people thought they were insignificant. Some people didn't seem to matter to others. But Paul wanted to show that the good news of Jesus, the gospel, was for everybody. It didn't matter who they were, where they come from, or what their job was, or what other people thought of them. That everybody needed to hear about Jesus. And that's an important message today. Christians believe that everybody can be part of God's family. Everybody is welcome. That Jesus came for all kinds of people. Didn't matter where you live, what country you're from, what language you speak. Didn't matter whether you're old or young, rich or poor. That the stories of Jesus and the fact that Jesus could be everybody's friend is good news for all people. And so Christians believe that being part of God's family is something that anyone can do. We'll finish with a prayer. Dear God, thank you that the message of Jesus is for anybody and everybody. Help us to treat others well. Help us not to judge people by who they are or where they come from or what they do. And thank you that you love us all and you want everyone to be a part of your big family. Amen.